Kristen, and I'm Mama Holmes on Ravelry, Mama Holmes NC on Instagram, and Mrs. K Holmes on Twitter. You can find show notes and this episode at house-of-holmes.blogspot.com. And you can also find the podcast on YouTube. I'm still working on iTunes, so I'm trying to figure out the whole feed issue. So yes, and I apologize if you see it, but there's a glare in my glasses from the screen, but I can't see without my glasses. So, and my contacts, they didn't make it in my eyes this morning, so it is what it is. Let's see, there is a Ravelry group, House of Knitting Podcast. So go over there, introduce yourself as my new house guest. There's a thread to introduce yourself and talk about what's going on in your knitting life, in your real life, in whatever life you want to share. And then there's also a thread to chat about the episode. Let me see. I have a lot to talk about, and I don't know why. It's been 2 weeks since I podcasted. I'm going to try to stay on a 2-week schedule. However, 2 weeks from this week, today is Thursday, October the 9th. So 2 weeks from today, I will be out of town for school, so there will not be a podcast that week. Instead of waiting 2 additional weeks, I'll just podcast when I get back, and then 2 weeks from that date. Thursday seems to be a good release day or a good recording day for me, so I'll try to record on Thursdays every 2 weeks. If for some reason I'm not going to do that, I'm trying to figure out a schedule, so if for some reason I can't podcast, then I'll put a message up in the Ravelry group. So yes, let's see. When you go to my blog, it is like an all-inclusive blog. I try to blog about family and things that I'm reading and yada yada yada, knitting. But there is a there is a House of Knitting page. So you can click on that page and click on the link, and there'll be episode links there, and it'll take you to the blog post instead of having to. I would love for you to read and follow my blog. That would be awesome. So if you would like to do that, you can. But if you're just interested in the podcast, then you can go to my blog, and then just click on the House of Knitting podcast page, and then it'll take you to the episodes. Okay? Okay. Let's see. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have noticed a couple of different hashtags. I tried out hashtags for the podcast as another way for us to have community together, since that's really why I decided to podcast. So our podcast for our hashtag for the podcast will be HOK podcast, or capital H, capital O, capital K podcast. However you want to put it in, it's still the same. So hashtag HOK podcast. You can use that on Instagram, Twitter. You can tag your Ravelry projects with that hashtag that you're knitting and you want to share with me. You can also if you join the Ravelry group, and you can also share your projects by going into your project page that you want to share and going over to the right hand side, and it'll say share your project, and it's a drop down, and you can share it with any groups you're in. I don't know if you know that, but I've been sharing why am I stuck on podcasts? I've been sharing my projects, finished projects. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause you in a second. I've been showing my finished objects on the podcast group. So, to be continued. So anyway, another housekeeping is that I've decided to start a cowl, our very first knit along for the podcast. It's going to be the housewarming cowl. I'm going to give you more information at the end of the podcast so that I'm not bombarding you with all that information. But basically, it's going to be a cowl, a knit along, crochet along, spin along, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Just so that we can get to know each other and get familiar with each other, which is why it's called a housewarming KAL. Where you just pick a project. You can actually use a WIP if you want, or you can cast on something new, and it'll cast on date will be November 1st. And it's a chatter-based drawing, prize giveaway drawing, because I will be giving away a prize or two. We'll see. So you actually will just have to have an initial post that shows what you're doing along with me, and then the more you chatter, the more chance you have to win. So I'm not going to do I will do a finished objects thread or whatever, how that looks, but I will not be drawing from that thread. I'll be drawing from the chatter thread. There are a couple other podcasts that have been doing that, and I absolutely love that idea because I stink at KALs. And so even if you are horrible at deadlines, you can still have an opportunity to win. You can chat it up, and that will bump you up as far as entries go. I think what I'll do is, based on the amount of chatter that we have, will determine how many prizes I give away. So there'll be some yarn, I hope. There'll be some fiber, maybe. Definitely patterns. So if you are a dyer or a designer and you would like to, I said I was going to talk about this at the end, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be right now. So, okay. If you are a dyer, if you are a project bag or stitch marker maker, or a pattern designer, and you would like to contribute to the podcast giveaway or to the KAL giveaway, will you message me on Ravelry, or you can email me at houseofknitting@gmail.com, and we'll talk. I've never hosted a KAL before, so I don't know what the standard courtesy is if you are a podcast, if you're a sponsor for one of the KALs. So if you could give me some information on that, if you are aware of it, or if you're comfortable to do so. So yeah, but I would love to have people who sponsor. I do have some things in my stash that I'm going to give up, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so more about the KAL at the end of the podcast, but I wanted to put that up there. Let's see. I have lots. It's a small book. I mean, look, it's a small book. Okay? Don't freak out. It's a small book. Events. There is a pre-frolic. So the Fiber Frolic, Carolina Fiber Frolic, is the fall retreat that's held by Jan Smiley in Sapphire, North Carolina. There's a pre-frolic get-together for those of us that are local. So if you're in the Piedmont Triad area of North Carolina, so Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, even down to Charlotte, or if you're in driving distance and you'd like to join us, there's some of us that are going to be getting together this Sunday, October the 11th at 1 o'clock at Natty Greens in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hop over to the Carolina Fiber Girls podcast. They have a thread that talks about that, and I think you just need to check in. If you're planning on coming, just check in and let them know how many people to expect so that they have a big enough table or big enough space. But we're going to sit and knit and drink a couple beverages probably, and then there's a yarn store, Gate City Yarns, is literally around the corner down the street from Natty Greens. That's actually where I bought my wheel. So we're going to take a venture down there and do a little bit of shopping. They're having a Spinzilla event, I think, but they know that we're coming. So if you're interested in meeting, you can send me a message, or you can just go over to the Carolina Fiber Girls podcast group. I'll put a link in the show notes. You should be listening to their podcast if you're not. Just add that to your list. But just check in, introduce yourself, let them know I sent you and that you are coming. Yay! That's the first event. The second event is SAF, Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, I believe is how that is. It's in Asheville, North Carolina. Actually, it's just outside Asheville, but it's really Asheville. And that is Thursday, October 23rd through Sunday, October 25th. I believe Thursday is just a class day. So I think the actual market is open like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be there Sunday with my fam. We went last year and Xander loved the llamas and the alpacas and the sheep. I mean, he just fell in love with it. And my husband actually really liked going too. So we're going to make that another trip this year. So we'll be there Sunday, October 25th, probably sometime in the morning. So if you're going to be there, let me know. And let's try to get together. I'm not going to do an official meetup or anything like that. But I will be walking around. I'll probably be around the Miss Babs booth. I don't know how much shopping I'll do, but I want to go. So I'll probably be hanging around the Miss Babs booth and then the Copper Corgi booth, because that's where the Carolina Fiber Girls will be. And so we're kind of buddies. And Knitting Color. There'll be some people there. So just message me and we'll catch up and get to know each other. And then the last event is the Carolina Fiber Frolic. I will be there. It's the fall retreat. It's November 7th through the 9th in Sapphire, North Carolina. The last time I checked, I got an email from Miss Jan Smiley a couple weeks ago. We all did. There are still spots open. So if you're in the area and you would maybe like to hang out and knit, it's not a class retreat. I don't even know that there's really a market. It's just hang out, sit in a rocking chair on the porch or in front of the fireplace all weekend and knit. That's all it is, and spin, and whatever you want to do. So I will be there with some buddies from North Carolina. I'm so excited to hang out with everybody again. We really met at the Into the Wool retreat in May with the Just for One More Row girls. So we're all going to be hanging out. The Carolina Fiber Girls will be there. Michelle from Actually Knitting will be there. She'll actually be at the meetup this Sunday. I'm excited about meeting her because she's kind of local-ish to all of us. But anyway, if you're interested in going, the retreat is actually really inexpensive. And then she had rooms blocked off at a hotel in the area. Just go to carolinafiberfrolic.com, I believe. I'm not entirely sure if that's right. So I'll put a link in the show notes. Hop over, send Miss Jan an email. She's super sweet. And see if there's some spots open. We'd love to hang out with you. Okay, 12 minutes in. That's crazy. Is that all I need to talk about? Yes. So you're here for the knitting, and I am too. So let's chat about the knitting. Just water today. This is my Into the Wool cup. It's so cute. So cute. So cute. Thinking of my Into the Wool girls today. Miss you. Let's see. I have a lot to talk about. So the knitting. Let's jump in. All right. So first thing on my list is something that I actually casted on today in a bag that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So we'll wait for the bag. But it's getting chilly here. I have hand knit socks on. See? These are my Skype socks, my first pair. I'm not going to take them off because they've been on my feet all day. I decided, I put a pair of boots on this morning. It's like in the 50s here. Well, it was this morning when I was out running errands. So I put on some boots and some leggings and some knit socks and thought to myself, I really want some boot cuffs. Really bad. I have the really cute, like lace up, not like the dominatrix lace up. Don't think about that. But like just no heel, lace up, like boots that I wear with pretty much all of my jeans and stuff during the cool weather. My feet are always cold, so I'm always trying to keep them warm. So I decided that with my boots, I wanted to wear some boot cuffs. So I cast it on literally like an hour ago, really. Some basic boot cuffs in Patton's Classic Wool Worsted. I love this yarn. Love this yarn. You can get it at Michael's. You can get it at AC Moore. I love this yarn. It's a good price per ball. I think it's like $5 or $6.99 at Michael's. They always have it on sale. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with the light again. Can you believe it? Oh, there we go. It's 210 yards for like $5 or $6.99. I mean, it's good. And it's 100% wool, and I love it. I'm knitting it in the Erin colorway, which is just a plain undyed color. It matches everything. I have not several, I have like 3 or 4 balls of Patons Classic wool. So I think I'm going to do a few different pairs. I don't have words today. A few different pairs. So yeah, I cast it on. I'm knitting them. They call for size 9, but I'm knitting on size 8. I knit a little bit looser, so usually I didn't do a gauge watch or anything crazy like that. But usually if I go down a needle size, I'm fine. I'm right on gauge. And it was a free pattern. I can't remember. Let me see. I can't remember who it was by. Mindy Lewis, I think is the name. Yes, Mindy Lewis. So Basic Boot Cuff on Ravelry. It's a free pattern by Mindy Lewis. It's really simple. It's like cast on. I'm doing the small and medium size. It's like 48 stitches. Cast on 48 stitches, 2 by 2 for 10 rows. I accidentally did 14 because I can't read. I was looking at the wrong line, so I'm just going to leave it at 14 rows. And then you just knit plain stockinette for a certain amount of rows, and then do the ribbing and bind off. That's it. It's really easy. So I think I'm going to knit a few of these. They might be Christmas presents this year for some friends. And we'll see. We'll see. You like my nails? These are Jamberries. Have you ever heard of Jamberries? I'm a Jamberry consultant because I'm obsessed with them. But I was in a wedding last weekend, and this is what I did for the bridesmaids. I love them. So awesome. If you're interested in having really cute nails for a really affordable price and they actually last, then send me a message on Ravelry and we'll talk. But if you haven't heard of them, I think Casey, Tangerine Designs, actually posted a picture last week and she was wearing them. And then Manic Pearl, Chrissy from the Snappy Stitches podcast, tried some samples last week that she had gotten from someone, and so now they're like blowing up on Instagram feed, but I've been selling them this whole time. So if you're interested, just let me know. That's my own little shameless shelf promotion plug. Anyway, so boot cuffs, they're really easy. This is the first one. They were not a whip. They were not a work in progress, but I really want them since it's getting chilly, and I would like to have a pair or two for the frolic. So yeah, there's boot cuffs, regular old boot cuffs. Size 8. I'm using these Clover size 8, 5.0 millimeter needles, bamboo. I don't typically knit with bamboo needles, but this was given to me by a friend who was a fellow knitter. Actually, she was a good friend of my mom's, and I grew up just around her, and she died of cancer, breast cancer, a couple years ago. So she let me borrow these, and then she passed. So every time I take them out and knit, I think about her. My husband and I are doing a big kind of like fundraiser for her. I think we're going to record like a mini episode and put it up on my blog, and he has his own blog as well for other things that he does. So I think we're going to be putting that up so there's information about how to help women, I think it's and men too, actually get breast screenings, mammograms. So be looking out for that as well, because I want you guys to be involved with that since it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Anyway, so that's the first whip. I'm kind of scattered. I'm sorry. It took me forever to get Xander down for a nap. He's finally quiet. He finally fell asleep. And so now I'm like, and I've had a lot of coffee today and hardly anything to eat. So I'm like kind of jittery and bouncing. And I do apologize. So I will try to take a deep breath and calm down. So the second whip I've been working on is my wedding orchid socks. Just the plain vanilla sock that I'm knitting. Here's the first one. It's been done. Done. And here's the second. And when I last talked to you, I had just the cuff, or I had just started the cuff, I think. I'm pretty sure I was like a third of the way through the cuff. So take this needle out. So I've been knitting just here and there. I've been doing some other things, which you'll see in a minute. But yeah, just knitting here and there. Yes. So these are the Wedding Orchid socks. They are on, I'm sorry, this light. There it goes. Wedding Orchid socks by Dana of the Unwind Company. It's on her Journey sock base, and it's in the Wedding Orchid colorway. And it's just my plain, it's so pretty, huh? It's just my plain vanilla sock pattern, which if you want to know what that is, everybody has their plain vanilla sock pattern, right? That they knit all the time. How long I do my cuff and all that. You can go to my project page. I'll try to actually find, I'm sorry, I just checked my phone, but it vibrated. So I was checking to see if it was the husband. You can go, I'll link it if I can remember to do it. My just recipe that I use for my vanilla socks. I really don't usually knit pattern socks. I like just vanilla socks because they're very mindless for me, and I knit while Xander's playing and that kind of thing, watching TV at night. And so anyway, so I'm just knitting a plain vanilla sock. I'm using my Knitter's Pride DPNs, size 1, 2.25. So yes, these are the carbons. Did I say that? Knitter's Pride carbons, DPNs. So they're just coming along swimmingly. I should be done probably the next time we podcast, especially with going out of town next week or in 2 weeks for school. I think I should be done next time we podcast, which would be great. So yeah, they fit great. They feel good. The yarn's beautiful. So yeah. I will say, while I'm thinking about it, if I linked something, like, so for instance, these were linked in the last episode show notes. If I linked it, I'm not going to relink it. So if you're interested, then you can just go search my blog, which is fine, or you can just go back to the first episode and it's linked in there. Most of what I'm talking about today, minus the boot cuff socks, and maybe the spinning, is not in the first episode. So I'll make sure to link all that stuff. But yeah, it's in my Stitch by Jessalou Sherlock bag. So I'm looking at my show notes. Okay, so that's pretty much, oh, I missed something. That's not pretty much it. I've been working on my Magrathea. It's getting bigger. I think next time I'll put a little marker in so that you can see, but I think you can tell that it's grown. It's grown. I love it. It's Magrathea by Martina Baim. Come on. I know you really can't see it that well. There you go. In the Flying Kettle, the colorway is Bookish Rogue. Bookish Rogue. This garter stitch is, I'm having a problem with, there we go. This garter stitch is lovely, squishy, stretchy. I love it. The Flying Kettle, knit on size 2, knit picks. It's just coming along. Yeah, it's just coming along. Nothing to report. I did see, myself getting off pattern a little bit. Like here it is right here. I don't know if you can, I can't see it, but it's right here. This way, right here. It's supposed to be straighter than that. I don't know what happened. I did it like 2 repeats in a row. So I'm trying to make sure that I pay attention. I think it's so fun and so kind of potato chippy, easy, addicted, whatever, addictive, that I don't know if I was involved in a conversation with my husband or what it was, or a movie. I just kind of got off. And so I've been trying to be really careful. What happened again right here? And then I put it down. So I don't know what's going on. It's completely user error. That's what it is. But I'm making this along with Mrs. Shu from Sarah from the Innisknit podcast. So if you would like to knit along with us, you can. I would love to see what you're knitting with. We're both using the Flying Kettle yarn. I did say something about how this was a custom order. I guess I could show you the yarn. This was a custom order. But I did notice that she's suspended custom order so that she can catch up, which is good. She's really busy, and that's great. But it was really sad. but she has great stuff in there. So she does do a lot of pre-order stuff, so you can get it in on that. And she's got some great Halloween colors up. I mean, fantastic Halloween colorways. And Halloween my favorite holiday, like my favorite time of the year. I love the Halloween season. So, anyway, did any of you grow up where you really didn't celebrate Halloween? Like as kids, we did. We went trick-or-treating or whatever. And then as we got older, we did like fall festivals and trunk or treats and stuff around the area. A lot of local churches will do that. But I was just wondering, my husband has like a different Halloween sense, so I think it's something that we wouldn't do if I didn't want to do it. I just love the dressing up and the trick-or-treating and the pumpkins and the hay rides. I just love that. Chicken stew. Do you do chicken stew where you're at? Chicken stew with some hot sauce and some crackers and some red pepper. Yum. Anyway, off on a tangent. But yeah, I'd be interested to know if anybody else, like, if you had a different Halloween experience or a fall festival experience. I know some people don't celebrate Halloween. But I'd be interested to know what your favorite Halloween memory is. So maybe you can share that in the Ravelry group. Yes. I'm going to keep showing you this. I love the Flying Kettles yarn. I love the yarn. So go look at her shop. She's got great Halloween stuff up right now. Great stuff. Okay, so spinning. Still considered in my WIP pile. Well, the first one is. I finished something on my wheel. I've been plying this thing. I'll show you because it's finished. That took me forever to ply. And so when I finished, I wanted to like continue to get some stuff. I had a spindle that I'm spinning on. And then I have my wheel. So I wanted to continue kind of in the whole whips thing. Sorry for the baggie. So I picked up my Dawning Dreams. I love this spindle. My Dawning Dreams spindle. So cute. I love this. I don't know the gear. I love this part of the spindle because you don't have to worry about finding the notch. You can just use any of them as the notch if you spin with a notch. You know what I mean? Like the notch that holds the fiber. Yeah, so like this. You don't have to really worry about where it goes. I love the spindle. It's so light. It's perfect to spin on. So I had been spinning Northbound Knitting Alpaca Secretly Love Pink. Secretly Loves Pink. I want to say it was like around Valentine's Day when I bought this. And immediately used my spindle, and it's alpaca, and I am not sure how I feel about alpaca yet. I'm thinking I'm going to ply it. I don't ply on my spindle, I ply on my wheel. I'm thinking I'm going to ply it with some merino, some gray, like some silvery merino that I have in my fiber stash. I think I'm going to spin that and ply it up because I'm afraid that this alpaca will not hold up very well. As number one, it's hand spun. Like I'm afraid that the ply won't be tight enough, and because it is going to be a 2-ply. And then I'm also kind of afraid that alpaca is just such a great fiber. It just pulls right apart. So something that I've been having a problem with, and I know it's because of the staple, so now that I figure out the staple, it's a little bit of a different situation, but it's really slick. And so I'm having this problem with, as I'm spinning, the fiber will just break. And so thankfully I spin on a carpet, carpet or my lap, and so it's not dropping like on a hardwood floor or anything, but it's kind of just frustrating to spin it. And I'd never spun alpaca before, so it's totally a learning experience, and I'm fine with that. I'm just thinking ahead about, like, I know it's going to be a shawl or a cowl or something like that I can wear around my neck because it's so warm. but I'm just trying to think about the makeup of the actual yarn and what the best thing to do is for that. So if you have any experience with that, if it's a good idea to apply it with merino, like to have a single of alpaca and then a single of merino, or if I need to find like another wool to apply it with. If you have any feedback, will you just put something in the thread for this episode so that I know, because I'm really excited to spin it up to finish it. I have no idea where I'm at. It's taking forever, which is fine. I'm not like a religious spindle. I don't spin on it all the time. I just spin on it whenever I want to. And so I have a good bit of fiber left. You can tell, I'm sorry, a good bit of fiber left. So it's gonna be a while, but I'm thinking about going ahead and just starting the merino or whatever I'm gonna apply it with on my wheel, because I spin much faster on my wheel, and then playing it together. So let me know what you think, please. I want some feedback and some input and some advice as far as that is concerned. So that's something that I've been working on. And then something else that I've been working on and I'm really kind of excited about is a bat. I've never spun from a bat before. Well, I have now because I've been spinning, but I hadn't spun from a bat before. And I got a sample bat in my Into the Wool goodie bag from Hobbledehoy, which I love this bat. I was like, ooh, ah, when I was spinning it the other day. I love it. This bat has merino, bamboo, tinsel, and sparkle. And she is hobbledehoy.etsy.com. And I had never spun from a bat before, and I absolutely love it. I think I had like put something on Instagram. I was going to spin it a while ago and then got distracted with something else. And I had never spun from a bat before. So what I'm doing is I just opened the bat up and I'm just pulling off a strip. Like, let's see which way we're going. I went from, kind of had like a light aqua bluish green, and so I'm kind of just moving so that the darker part of the bat is where I spin last. I have no idea what the weight is, what the size of this bat is, but I'm just kind of pulling it off like this and then just into pieces and then just spinning it onto the wheel, and I really love it. And it's so fun. I've never spun from a bat before, and now I'm addicted. My husband was like, what's the difference? And I was like, well, obviously it's a bat. It's like carded fiber, drum carded, like on a drum carder instead of just a braid of fiber. And so when I said that, he's like, oh, well, that makes sense. But just the experience of spinning from this bat is amazing. Like, because you see it in this like kind of like mess, you know, not mess. It's really pretty and aligned and everything, but you see it kind of, you know, in this different form, and then all of a sudden it's just spinning into this gorgeous yarn or single or whatever. So this is my bobbin. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. See right here, the sparkle right here? I just love it. I love the colors. I just love it. It's, you know, I'm not really focusing on like whether it's spinning. I am spinning it woolen, trying to at least spin it more woolen than worsted. So I'm trying to let as much twist into the triangle as possible. And so I'm not really worried about like how it's spinning, like what weight weight of yarn I'm gonna have. I'm not thinking about that, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So if you've never spun from a bat before, if you have advice about spinning from a bat, let me know, because I'm addicted. I know I've been kind of looking at some places. Like I know Gourmet Stash, of course, has like some tribbles or some little bats, like tribble sets, and then Wool Pierogi has some. I didn't look in her shop though yet to see what was up there. Hobbledehoy had some bats available, so I can't buy anything right now, but I'm I'm just kind of like got my eye out there. Maybe if I see something at SAF, that might be what I buy at SAF, is just a bat. I don't really need anything else right now. So we'll see. But yeah, that's my hobbledehoy bat, and it's kind of in the colors of the Into the Wool theme, was kind of that, you know, woodsy greens and the browns, and so it's really, really pretty. I love it, love it, love it. So that's what I'm spinning currently. I have a mess of stuff on the floor, so I'm sorry I keep leaning. Let's see. Oh, I did want to say I'm wearing my vintage rose stitch marker necklace. I love it. These little necklaces, I think the heart and I'm sorry. No, actually, all three of these are from the Alice in Wonderland. The Alice in Wonderland. This is difficult set. Stitch marker set. And it's got the lobster claw to put the stitch markers on, and then the green yarn ball, which is somewhere. There it is. Green yarn ball. I love it. She's got some up in her shop, I believe. So definitely some necklaces. She's changed, I think, how she does the necklaces, so it's a little bit different from the one that I have. But it's very affordable. It's very cute jewelry, and I'm a sucker for anything that's jewelry. Okay. Finished. I don't remember if I talked about this last week because there was an edit and I can't remember if it was in there or not. So I'm just going to talk about this like I didn't talk about it last week because it's finished. So I was doing a combo spin for Edgewood Garden Studios, which if it's in last week's episode or last episode, I called it Friends in Fiber, and that's not who it is. It is Edgewood Garden Studios. She still has very good prices. She still has great colors, great colorways, great dyer, mainly fiber. She is fiber. I said that. Like I said, I edited it out, so I can't remember what I said and didn't say. But this was the first skein that I had finished. It's a combo spin, so I was doing, it's in BFL. Both braids are BFL. So I spun one braid as a single, spun another braid as a single, and then plied them together. That's what was taking me so long because I was plying 8 ounces because they were 4 ounces each. So I combo spin her Missing Link colorway. And I'm sorry, the lighting is terrible today. Missing Link and Extreme Conditions, I think, was the other one that I spun. It's in my project page, my spinning page for it. So this was the first skein, and I finished the second skein like 2 or 3 nights ago. And what I noticed about this skein is that I plied it a little bit better. I have been watching the Craftsy class, spinning class with Felicia Lowe from Sweet Georgia, and she spends a lot of time talking about colors and how to make sure that when you spin a braid, with a lot of colors, how to make sure when you go to apply those colors, or even when you're drafting, how to make sure that you're not muddying your colors. And so I really tried to focus on that with this one. And so the first skein, I did have some muddying as far as how the colors came out and how they were applied, like right where my finger's at, this like gray, oh my gosh, this way. There's like some gray through here. You can see it just above my finger right there. That was more of a purple. And because of how it was spun up and plied, it was more muddied into a gray. There are a few of those in here. Yeah, there are a few of those in here. And so there's some right here too. You can see kind of in there, down this strip right here where it kind of gets muddy and you really can't tell the difference between the two singles. So I tried that, and I was really conscious of that when I was plying. and when I was drafting, when I was actually spinning the single. With this one, I made sure to work on two things. One, I wanted a little bit more of a tighter ply, and two, I was really still trying to consider the muddying factor. So I think that just looking, number one, the lining is off. But just looking at the two skeins, you can see that the second skein that I spun looks much different. Let's do it this way. No. No. Whatever. It looks much, there it goes. It looks much different. Can you see? So I'm really pleased with, this was the first time that I had combo spin. I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot. I'll try to fix that. This was the first time that I had a combo spin, so I was dealing with just I really wasn't worried about the weight of the yarn, like making sure that I had a consistent yarn, but I wanted to make sure that I had a consistent color looking, so once everything was put together. And I just really like the way that the second skein turned out. I love it. So yeah. I'm going to knit them together. I'm not worried about them looking different because it's hand spun. I got about 650 yards total. I'm still working on my yardage issue, but yes, I love it. It turned out really good. I'm thinking it's going to be a boneyard or maybe a hitchhiker. We'll see. I've never done a hitchhiker before. I'm like, the time is freaking me out. Okay, so that was finished. I finished my husband's World Cup socks out of Desert Vista Dye Works in the electric middle schooler colorway. I had finished one last time and was working on the second. I don't really know which one is the second. And so they're finished. He's actually been wearing them. They've not been washed yet. So he loves them. These are for a size 12 man's foot. So I cast on 72 inches, knit them on size 1s. And my Addi Turbos, 72 inches, heel gusset. Yeah, it's just the same thing I do. I just did an ankle sock instead. So I knit the ribbing for probably about an inch. So yeah, I have notes, project notes up. They don't match, and he's perfectly fine with that. So yes, I'm trying to fly through some stuff so that I can get to some important stuff, like the cowl. Now you've not seen this, but in my whips basket, because remember I'm whipping my whips. I'm like tackling my whips. I'm getting them, sorry, my foot's asleep. I'm getting them taken care of. I have like 8 or 9 that I've been working on. So I had casted on the Rosebud hat, or just Rosebud by Jared Flood, with this handspun that I had spun up from Northbound Knitting. It was in the Disintegration colorway, and it was a Hamburg finish wool. I like it. It's just a little bit itchy. So, not itchy, it's just not next to skin soft, especially. It's not something that I would wear right here. But it's warm. So I made it into a hat. So I started this Rosebud hat, and Rosebud has a cable up the side, and it's really pretty. It's in garter stitch. And then it has this one like panel of big chunky cable. You know how I feel about cables. The cable was just getting lost in the yarn, and also I had put it down and basically forgot where I was in the cable chart. So I ripped it back. I was like, I'm gonna have a hat out of my handspun, because this is the first time that I've knit with my handspun, like successfully. Like I've tried to cast on things, and I've not been spinning, but maybe 2 years. And so this is the first time that I cast on something with my handspun. I don't know why the heck I waited so long, because it's amazing. And yeah, so what I did was I ripped back to the ribbing and just ripped it out, picked up the ribbing, and just knit straight until I thought I wanted a slouchy hat. So this is my hat. So don't ask me notes or anything. I don't. The stitch count that I used is for the Rosebud hat. So I just didn't cable, and I just knit stockinette. So It is what it is. And I knit this hat. Once I ripped it back, I knitted it in a day. Like, I was just quick. I was watching, no, I was reading. I started the Divergent series, so I was reading the series while I was, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, but, so yeah, put it on real quick. It's actually very slouchy. Crazy hair today. Let's go this way. It's very slouchy, which I love. It's very warm. Can you see it? Making sure you can see it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Like I said, I don't know why I've not knit with my handspun before. So that's why I was really ready to get that stuff, that combo spin plied, so that I could start thinking about what I wanted to knit with it. And I think it's going to be Hitchhiker. But yeah, I love it. So I think it was knit on size 8s. I'll have to check my project notes. Size 8s. I did knit them on the GenQ needles. Those were the needles that everybody was talking about a year ago on eBay, and you paid like $4.99, something really cheap. I think it was like $4 or $5, and then you got like 16 sizes. They had the little like curve. I don't have them with me, I don't think. Maybe I do. They have the little curve in them. People were saying that they reminded them of Chow Goose. I don't have any Chow Goose, so I don't know. I don't have those needles. Yeah, I don't have the needles. So anyway, I'll try to link them. I don't know if the place, you order them from China, so I don't know if they're still selling them or not. But I'll try to link them if they are and make sure that's in the show notes for you. But the needle was great for magic looping. It's a little bit shorter than what I prefer. I like to use a 40-inch cable for magic looping just because I feel better with that long of a needle. I think they're like a 24 or a 30. They might be a 32. I think they're a 32 actually. The GenQ were. So after a while, I figured it out and was fine. You can, because there's a little like curve where the connection between the needle and the cord is rounded. It's very smooth. You can bunch your needles or your stitches up onto the needle and just knit like crazy. So once I figured that out, it was fine. But yeah, I love my hat. Love it, love it, love it. I can't wait until it's cool enough. We're starting to get cool here. Like, last week, we were at the beach last weekend for a wedding, and it was chilly. I mean, it was comfortable, but at night it was chilly. And then we got home, it was back to Winston, it was chilly. And then today, it's like, in the morning, it's like 50, 55, and then it gets up to 70 or 77, 75, and then it's back down at night. So it's this huge, like, it's waiver. You know, when you like dress warm and it's cold in the morning, so you dress for warm, and by 2 or 12 o'clock, you're like pulling layers off. That's what it is here. So that's where we're at. It's not a consistent cool yet, but if it's in the 60s, to me, it's chilly. That's just how I am. My feet, even though I have hand knit socks on right now, my feet are cold. I'm always cold. That's just how I am. So, just throwing my stuff on the floor here. Handspun hat. Like I said, it was my first ever project in handspun. I loved it, and I can't wait to cast on something else. Stashed. Okay, so let me just say that I'm coming up to 50 minutes. I want to talk about the cowl, and I want to talk about what I've stashed. And I had planned to do like a mini review of a book. So I think I'm going to wait for the next podcast to really go over the cowl stuff. So I'll go ahead and open a thread for the housewarming cowl and get some information in there, but I'll actually go into depth about the housewarming cowl next podcast. So it'll be really 3 weeks. Like, because I'm gone in 2 weeks. So it'll be the very next week. So the next podcast will be extensive discussion about the cowl. In depth. Not extensive, but in depth. You know what I mean? So I'll put up a thread with some information so you can go ahead and start thinking about what you might want to be working on. And we'll go from there. Okay? Okay. Anyway, okay, so Stashed. The first thing I'm going to talk about in Stashed, I did not purchase recently, but I've been thinking about it, dreaming about it, and you'll see why in a second. I do this thing on Thursday nights. It's tonight's Thursday night. On Thursday nights with Elegant Economy Knits, Maria, where she hosts an Instagram knit night. So you use the hashtag Insta Knit Night, and you have this instant community of people who are knitting. And it doesn't matter where you are at in the world, you can participate at any time because we all just go back and comment. And so people who are really, it's like Thursday evening right now, are already knitting Instant Knit Night, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's a great way to see what people are knitting, but it's also a great way to meet new people. So I met Ashy Poo, I think is her name. I want to say she has a number at the end of her name, but I'm not sure. Ashy Poo, and she owns, she's the dyer behind Nomadic Yarns. And so I had clicked on the Instant Knit Night link or hashtag and was taken to her, like saw her project, clicked on her project, started looking through her thread, her Instagram thread, and realized she dyes yarn. She dyes self-striping yarn. I'm probably going to kick myself for telling you this, but I really want her to get business because she has gorgeous colorways. And I know someone else, I think it was Mrs. Shu from Sarah from Innocent was talking about her. Not talking about her, but posted something on Instagram about her. And I'm talking so fast because I'm really excited. And it says that Nomadic Yarns opened in 2014, so she's very new, but she's amazing. So I mentioned that I love Halloween, right? So I'm going to talk about this in Stashed because I really want to share it with you because I think she has some of these in the shop and I want to cast it on because she has this yarn. It's self-striping. Now we all know how hard self-striping is to get. So listen, y'all, if I'm introducing you to this new dyer, don't go eating it all up because I find dyers that I like and can't get their stuff. So don't go eating all this Nomadic Yarn self-striping up. I'm telling you, I will come to your house and I will get you. Okay? Okay. Her Halloween colorways are amazing. I told you I'm a sucker for Halloween colorways. So this colorway, now, you can think of some names that probably pop through your mind. There's some pumpkin-y colors in there. There's some witchy colors in there because you got the pink and the purple over here. I might have bought the yarn because of the name. I'm just saying. Because the name is awesome. It is the Slutty Pumpkin. I love it. The Slutty Pumpkin on her trusty sock base. 462 yards, 75.25. And then there's her shop, nomadicyarns.etsy.com. Number one, it's an extremely generous. I love when self-striping skeins are 462 yards because I like really tall socks. And so I can knit this and have so much fun with it. But I really am showing this to you because she's an amazing dyer. And I want to cast these on. Now, if you're counting, if you're playing along at home, I am trying to knit down my whips. So I've already casted on one small project that's my boot cuffs that I want to finish. But I have 2 pairs of self-striping and a pair of variegated socks on the needle. So I have 3 pairs of socks on the needles. But I really want to cast these on because it's October. And I've been like fighting the urge for a week now. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm getting closer to Halloween and these are not going to be ready by Halloween, which is fine because I'll wear them all year round. Trust me. But I love it. I love her little tag. I love that she winds her balls, that she winds the yarn balls like this. I love it. The gobstopper is what Susan B. Henderson calls it. I love it. And so I love that she wrapped it in this Halloween-y ribbon. I just love it. And I really want to cast it on. And I think I might just do it this weekend. But but we'll see. If I do that, then the other socks, like the wedding orchid socks that I have on the needles, are not going to get done because I'm going to cast these on and this is all I'm going to knit on. I know it. So we'll see. But I'll link her in the show notes. I'll also write down the stuff about Instant Knit Night so that you can join along and just go look at her stuff. I'll actually put her Instagram name too, because she knits all of her yarn, obviously. She's knitting this cardigan. It's really cable-y, and I cannot remember the name of the cardigan. It's in this really pretty grass green. It's so pretty. So I would love a sweater's quant. The next thing I want to buy from Ashley is, by the way, she has this really cute sense of style. She's so cute. You just go look at her Instagram feed. But I really want to buy a tonal colorway from her because I would like a fingering weight sweater, I think, out of some of her yarn. But we'll see. I have another fingering weight quantity in my stash that I haven't knit yet, but here you go. One more time. So Nomadic Yarns, and this is Slutty Pumpkin. And she's got yarns that are paired with bags. I know they're kits. They're amazing. I don't think she makes the bags. I might be wrong, but she has like a Snarkadoo set with the yarn and a bag with these little like Jaws looking sharks on them. Cartoony looking sharks. So cute. Please go look at her shop, and if you buy from her, let her know that you heard about her from me because of the Instant Knit Night. I think that's genius. Just let her know that I said hello and I love her stuff, and I wanted to share that with you because it's amazing. Her yarn is amazing. Okay, so the next thing that I stashed is actually a prize that I won. I did not buy it. I listened to the Knitting Butterflies podcast, and she did a giveaway for a Java Jenny bag. And this bag is her single shot bag. And so I've never had a Java Jenny bag before. And it's super cute. The fabric is just exactly the fabric that I love. I love the chevron. I actually have a shawl. I knit the Onward shawl by Shannon Cook from Love and the Mommyhood. Very Shannon also. And the shawl makes the chevron pattern in the shawl. So I squeed when I opened it. I won it on the podcast. I squeed out loud when I won, to be honest with you. I never win anything. But Java Jenny is Kitchen Counter Crafter. And there's her information, javajenny.etsy.com. I will say it's a smallish bag. She has several different sizes. Several, I mean 5. But it fits a ball of sock yarn. So it'll be a good sock size bag, definitely, I think this kind of size bag is perfect for purse knitting and it has this little snap. I have a Jordana Page bag, and they have like little hooks and grommets in the bag that you can put stuff to. This little thing would be perfect if you knit with it on I don't do that, but I was thinking it'd be perfect for the bag because you could just stick it in the bag and attach it to one of the grommets, and then you're good to go. You can also use them to like thread yarn through, if that makes sense. Like they're little loops that buckle or button. I'm sorry. I don't know what they're doing out there. So yeah, such a cute bag. I'm so glad I won it. Thank you so much, Emily of the Knitting Butterflies podcast. But this is from Kitchen Counter Crafter. And also, Emily's podcast is amazing. I am a little bit obsessed with photography right now. I got a Canon Rebel for a birthday present this past January. And so I've been trying to do better about my photos, and at the wedding last weekend, I actually did shots for the wedding. So maybe I'll put them on my blog so you can see some of them, because I think they turned out really well. But I've been using her tips from her podcast, and there's the knittingbutterfliespodcast.com, and I'm learning a lot from Emily's podcast, and she made this little exposure guide that is just a quick guide that you can put in your camera bag. But she not only talks about like using a DSLR and how to use the different modes and stuff, but also like I'm really obsessed with photography right now, like I said. So she talks about like how to do iPhone photography and how to use just a regular point and shoot. So it's something that everybody can listen to. It's not just something that only photographers can listen to, but she's actually opened up the world to photography for me through her podcast. And so I asked her, she had given these away at Stitches Midwest, and so I asked her if she had any extra to throw one in there with my bag. But it's a great idea. I think it's a fantastic idea. So thank you so much, Emily. Please go look at her podcast or listen to her podcast. She has a great blog. It's all in the same place now, so you can go in and see her podcast, see her. She does gorgeous shots of everything, and you can see her pictures and her, listen to the podcast and be inspired. Definitely. She is definitely an inspiring person. So, yes. But that is from Miss Emily of the Knitting Butterflies podcast. So thank you, Emily, for sending me that. I'm so happy I won the prize, but thank you for sending me that exposure guide as well. Okay. And then the next thing that I purchased was Suburban Stitcher. Diane had a Halloween bag update. So I got this really cute purple trees bag. I love it. It's very fallish. It's not so much Halloween. I mean, it is because I got the Halloween colors, but it's very fallish. And I will use this all year round. Once again, she has the ruler pulls. I love it. And then the inside of the bag, you can see, is just this really pretty like, chevron. It's got my boot cuffs in there, but I scored that bag. Yes. So excited. I love her bags. I love, love, love Diane's bags. She also has a podcast. So make sure Suburban Stitcher, it's a video podcast. In the House of Knitting podcast group, chat about what you're knitting. Don't forget the HOK podcast hashtag on Instagram. And I'll be back in a few weeks with some information about our first cal. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's so good to sit with you today and welcome you into my home. And I hope that as you go about your day or back into your homes, that you just have good knitting time and you come back and see me soon. We'll see you later. Bye.